Hello folks, welcome to Legacy IAS Academy. In this video, we will be discussing a very important topic. What is that? Why most UPSC aspirants miss the mains cutoff, or what are the common mistakes students do in the mains? So these are some of the changes that you can do if you're targeting for mains 2026 and forward. See, first and foremost, many students, let's say after you have cleared prelims, majority of them sit for mains. Now in this, the assumption is, if I read more, if I accumulate more, if I become more knowledgeable, that will somehow translate into my marks. But if you see, this is a myth. The reality stems around something very basic, elementary, and yet very far from your myth. What is that? See, two equally knowledgeable students can have a difference of 100 marks. I'm going to equally knowledgeable students in mains, and 100 marks is such a significant difference that it will determine your selection or not itself. What is the difference here? I told equally knowledgeable. The main key here is execution. What do I mean by that? See, your knowledge into the subject can only get you as far as to the table to write the answer, but to convert that answer into the selection of next stage, that is where your execution of plan comes in. What is this execution of plan? Let's say if they are going to ask you a question on DPSP or on governance issue of, let's say, health sector, poverty or anything, you may have huge amount of content. You may have prepared a laborious amount of content and you would have accumulated so much content. But you know how much time you have to execute that? Max to max 7 to 11 minutes. That's all you have. The 7 to 11 minutes what you put out of that content that you had prepared, consumed, determines whether you are getting selected or not. Okay, so first and foremost, I would like you to understand one thing. Mains is all about just knowledge is a myth. Utilizing that knowledge is where the key trick is. That is where the execution part comes in. First thing. Second thing, most time we see over the course of the video we will be discussing what are the mistakes, what are the ways to overcome this, how can you increase the marks. Okay, if you follow this religiously, your marks can vary from 30 to 50 marks in a minimum scale. All that we will discuss. But for that, one thing I need you to understand is a very basic fact. What is that? See, UPSC does not just demand from you mentally, emotionally, psychologically, but also physically. What is this physically? Back to back papers, 20 questions, writing is involved. Now, if you are not someone who keeps on answer writing, your hand is also like a muscle memory only. Immediately, suddenly you start writing answers, it is going to give up on you. It is going to create a fatigue, a tiredness, an exhaustion that you will not be able to sustain the momentum. So, you first have to understand this basic thing as to I am entering into the stage of exam where laborious amount of writing is required. So, if you think that mains is all about, yes, I will consume a lot of content, prepare myself knowledgeable and then go right there, you will fail for just one physical reason itself. You have no habit of answer writing. You have to do active answer writing. There is no such Alternative to your answer writing, you have to take mock tests, a lot of them, not just one, a lot of them, because you have to prepare your mind as well as body for writing this much of answer content. Now, because we are talking about the answer writing, you also have to understand the third most important part, brilliance. Okay. Certain people feel like I have to create exceptional answer writing to an extent where these answers are going to stand apart. Fine, let your answers stand apart, but usually what will happen is they will lose the time limit. Your brilliant first 15 answers and no answers in the last 5 questions is going to cost you 50 marks, let's assume, if it is a 10 mark question. That is not worth it. UPSC does not award brilliance over consistency. It awards consistency. Answer all 20 questions. A beautifully answered first 10 questions, and you have consistently answered 20 good decent questions is much more important. It earns you much more marks. So, you have to understand that first and foremost, UPSC Mains is not all about gathering laborious amount of content consumption. It is about knowledge consolidation. Okay. Second thing, you have to physically do a lot of answer writing within the specified time limit. Keep an average of 7 minutes for 10 marker and 11 minutes for 15 marker, and that's it. Try to complete all 20 questions within the specified time limit. Understanding? And next thing is, don't assume that first 15 question I will create it in such a beautiful manner that my compensation will come in the next 5 if I leave also. No, that does not happen that way. Answer all 20 within the time limit, because UPSC is not wanting you to create masterpiece answers. In fact, if you see, the most clear, concise answers are not big, heavy structured content. They are crisp, clear, to the point. That is what they expect from you, and that is why there is a concept of word limit. Otherwise, you can keep on going writing on ends to lengths and breadths. No, they want you to strictly address what the elephant in the room is. Next, they don't see, UPSC ka pattern keeps changing, but most time what happens is, most people only talk about prelims that is changing. Prelims patterns are changing. No, mains patterns are also changing. You just have to see, look at that. UPSC is no longer asking only straightforward direct questions. It is asking interlinking topics. Now, let's say there is a concept of flooding. Flooding is no longer just a geography example. It has relations with your governance, urban planning, sustainable development goals, mobility, a lot of these things. So, interlinking has to be there. So, when you provide an answer, it is not about big blocks of information you will throw at the evaluator's face. It is a clear, planned 7-minute or 11-minute structure where you are trying to address the question with multiple angles. A proper analysis should be there. Understanding? This does not mean you will create your generic content and keep, where everyone quotes the same thing. Everyone quotes Mahatma Gandhi, Nehru, okay, Mother Teresa. See, what I am telling is, to one extent, almost all answers will start looking alike. So, how do you diversify this and keep in mind that you have to adhere to the word limit? You have to first analyze the content that you are studying. Understanding? It is not like, yes, I have studied NCERT, I have studied standard books, then that means I have enough content to write the mains. Analyze it, look into the topic, interlink with various subjects, then come to a conclusion. See the point of view from different perspectives. You will get a different direction in your answer, and at the same point of time, it will all be based on the question only. You will not diverge from it. Understanding? That balance is the key here. what is it that we have discussed about? Everyone almost studies same books, same current affairs, same previous year's papers, and yet the marks can be a gap of 100 plus. That determines your selection or non-selection. Now, the more is better illusion. See, the more you know, that is, let's say, quantity over quality is never the answer. You need depth into a topic, not depth of volume. Understanding here the quality of the content you are consuming and consolidating, which means revision is the key, not multiple sources. It should not be like, yes, one more telegrams group say I will take this source, one more toppers copy say I will take this, one more mentor say I will just do this, one more material I will do, one more new book. That one more is just knowledge accumulation. Knowledge accumulation without revision is equivalent to not doing anything, because let's say if you consume a new content, you don't revise anything for that. Within 7 days you are bound to forget 70% of it. So what is the point in doing this? Stick to few trusted sources and revise it multiple times. Now when I tell revise it multiple times, I don't just mean study or by heart it, write it. The keyword is writing. Mains is a writing examination. You have to write and write and write. You have to understand the fatigue that the exam gives you. Understanding? So, the more is better illusion. Another book, another compilation, another telegram PDF, another topper's notes, nothing is going to help you. Only it is going to lead to resource accumulation. Okay, the right one more than knowledge accumulation here will be, because if revision is not there, knowledge is not retained. So what is it? Mere resource accumulation. Resource accumulation is not going to do you any benefit. What you are supposed to do is trust few sources, revise it multiple times, write it, take lot of mock writings, mock tests. This will lead to knowledge consolidation. Okay. Next, reading comforts, writing scores. This is a very apt thing to tell. If you just read and not practice answer writing, this is what it will lead to, a comfort zone. Your UPSC Mains examination is outside your comfort zone. It tests you physically, mentally, because within the 7 minutes of time, whatever you have studied on the topic, you have to be able to structure it well and present it in the paper. So that is being tested, means you have to prepare for that. So recognition does not automatically mean a recall. Knowledge alone is not going to earn you marks, but your presentation of that answer, building of that answer within that 7 minutes is going to earn you that marks. So if your answer architecture has to be big blocks of information, it is not going to earn you any marks. Understanding? Because a more structured, layered answer will be in the form of, look at this, context, analysis of it, multiple perspectives. This is what I told as balancing approach. You have to interlink it to various topics. See the way forward and a balanced conclusion, not just a repetition of statements that is seen. So you have to support. See, again, your UPSC Mains answer is not about you writing your feelings on the paper. It is about you having an opinion with supporting data, committees, constitutional provisions, reports, diagrams, stakeholders involved. So you are giving a weighted argument, understanding, and not just mere vague statements or vague feelings. So many people feel like, the ones who have not cleared in mains is because they have not prepared enough. No, usually the marks are lost between your 7 and 11 minutes. Remember I told you, try to stick within this timeline. The issue is not a knowledge problem or the fact that a person does not know it. A person knows it but does not know how to concise it under this 7 and 11 minutes roughly. See, usually mains answer pe starting answers receive a good amount of extraordinary attention because you put detailed time, approach, everything. Last few answers are written in whatever time that is left. This is where issue happens. This is where your marks can vary from 30 to 50. Okay, a brilliant answer carries 0 value if the next question is left blank. Understanding? So, that is what I meant. UPSC rewards consistency across the paper rather than isolated brilliance. So, keep these things in mind. So, when I said you have to train yourself to answer writing, that would mean answering the question in particular time limits, that is between 7 to 11 minutes. Complete the paper at any cost and adapt yourself for the writing fatigue that you will face. Understanding? Next, preparation without calibration, which means let us say you are doing your study, you are revising, you are also going to take answer writing. But if you just leave it at that without seeing what is the mistakes, what you have to change in the course, then what is the point? See, same structural mistakes will keep on repeating only if nobody identifies them. This is where the role of a mentor comes in. Before you take the next new test, you have to see what changes should I do in the present one. Understanding? Otherwise, it is just repeating the mistakes over and over again. So, you have to see whether your issues, common mistakes that we have seen in the mains answer writing is weak introductions, repetitive conclusions, same things written over and over again, poor sequencing, that is you do not have a proper structure, it looks like you do not have the proper flow of the answer. Okay, there is lack of balance in your answer, it is only focusing on one topic, it is not interlinking the topics. Understanding? And there is no supporting arguments for it. So, next, facts alone don't build arguments. Meaning what? Like we discussed, urban flooding means it has a varied list of things that is involved in that. So, you have to also look into that and from all those angles. UPSC demands interlinkage because they are no longer asking only one point oriented topics. They want a balanced judgment, constitutional reasoning and also administrative practicality. So, when you are able to connect the issues, okay, you will be able to let us say bring out a balance that can be more let us say apt to the question. So, if you see, revision is extremely important. It is not a phase but it is a process. Look at this. Like I told earlier, if you consume a new content and don't revise, within a week you will forget 70% of this. So, what you should do? You keep weekly revision cycles, monthly revision cycles, or you create quick one-page summaries, okay, something that will help you revise it over and over again, okay, and also you can create your flashcards just to retain your memory better. So, if you see, at the end of the day, every answer almost starts looking alike with identical examples of either your Gandhi, Teresa, identical phrases, identical conclusions. So, somewhat they will give a very mid to average answers. So, this is why I told in the starting, you have to create the depth of the subject, insight of the subject. When you look at it from multiple approach, each approach you will try to take a personality that will build a different answer. So, you can add your own value addition. Understanding? So, this shows how innovative your answers or your answers can stand out. You can add new government initiatives, government community led developments, okay, your scientific achievements, recent Supreme Court observations, right? So these all builds your own value addition to the book and it makes your answer stands out. Now, usually what happens is when we say burnout, burnout doesn't comes just in one day or because you missed one step or one answer writing. It happens because over the period of time you don't have a revision cycle, you don't have a proper schedule, okay, you constantly skip tests and you keep making changes to your timetable, you don't have a dedicated discipline and follow through on that, and constant comparison to others, and you expect quick results, or it will be about either the fact that you are not doing enough or you are doing everything, right? So the consistency does not happen in this regions. In this zones, the only thing that will happen is your burnouts. See, success rarely belongs to just the motivated people. It belongs to very frequently the most consistent ones. So, your strategy imbalance costs more than your hard work, meaning when I started I said your knowledge or your resource accumulation is not going to guarantee a win in mains selection. What does is your consistency, is your plan, is your, let's say, discipline that your entire process has. So, this exam is one integrated cycle, which means it is not that you will focus on prelims over mains, your GS general studies over optionals, or you will prepare the perfect notes and then start answer writing. There is no that one right time or moment. See, if your prelims is conceptual clarity, mains is analytical writing, it itself has the word writing in it, right? And your interview is about your personality, which means all of these are integrated into one. All three is something that you have to, okay, build into it, because that's how the exam is set. Now, if you see, mains examination is a game of endurance, because if you see back to back papers, if you consider, even if you adhere to the word limit, on an average somewhere 25,000 to 30,000 words you are writing, which is a hugely strenuous activity. If you don't plan for it, see, it is as simple as this. You have decided you will run for a marathon with no preparation, completely lack of it. Just because you can get to stand in the marathon and start running, will you be able to finish that marathon? Let alone finishing it, will you be even able to run at least a little bit? You will have a lot of difficulties in between. Yes, you can get spasm, muscle spasm, hurt yourself, fall down, lot of this. Same is this with the exam. You have to train and prepare for that endurance that is needed. By almost the final papers come in, the fatigue starts showing in your handwriting, concentration, thinking, analysis, and also even the recalling capacity. So when we say mains exam, it is mainly about writing. So you have to first train for that. So what does the selected candidates do differently? Instead of resource accumulation, they go for trusted sources, multiple revision. Instead of reading passively, that is you just read, that just creates comfort. They go for active writing. Okay. Now, you wait to be fully prepared, that fully prepared moment is never going to come. First thing that preparation or perfection happens is through continuous practice. So, prefer practice over perfection. Next, see, don't think that all 20 answers I have to write in an impeccable manner, which will be so much as to that how the paper is going to look, but no, focus on within this timeline, am I addressing all the areas properly? That should be your key area. Next, memorizing isolated facts is not going to give you any good, rather you have to do connecting the dots or connecting the subjects. Next, studying without measurement, that is, if you study, you just keep on studying without testing, without corrections. If you write, you just write without analysis or mentoring. You have to take the value or importance of your mentorship is because of this. You have to integrate the feedback into your system. Okay, studying harder every week or just studying when it is possible for you is not the right answer. Consistently studying, consistently revising, consistently writing the answers. So, your mains failure or non-selection is never only one step mistake. It is an accumulation of missed revision, unfinished answers, that is you are not completing all 20 questions, weak presentation, okay. You have the fatigue, physical fatigue, scattered preparation, delayed practice, okay. All this one by one leads to your final result being non-selected. Understanding? So, these are some of the basic things that you have to understand before you start, or if you have started, add it in the course of your preparation. Alright, with this we come to the end of the content. If you like our content, subscribe to our channel, hit the like button, share it along with your friends. Thank you.